As the war drags on, something invisible begins to grow. Not on the battlefield, not on the maps, but inside the minds of those in power. Losses continue to rise. Day after day, week after week. Entire units disappear from the front lines. Advanced weapons systems fail to deliver victory. Carefully planned operations collapse into chaos. What was once called a short conflict has become a grinding war of exhaustion. Every report delivered to command carries the same message. More casualties, more territory lost, more pressure. Pressure from generals, pressure from politicians, pressure from allies demanding results, pressure from populations growing tired, angry, and afraid. The numbers are no longer abstract. They are faces. They are names. They are cities erased from the map. And with every loss, the space for easy decisions disappears. Inside fortified command centers and underground bunkers, military leaders face choices no one should ever have to make. There is no good option left. Only bad ones. And worse ones. Continue the conventional war and risk total defeat. Escalate further and risk something far more dangerous. Maps glow on massive digital screens. Red zones spread wider each day. Commanders argue. Advisors whisper. Silence fills the room after every failed proposal. These are not emotional debates. They are cold, calculated, mathematical. Lives reduced to probabilities. Cities reduced to targets. And slowly, almost reluctantly, an unthinkable idea enters the conversation. Conventional weapons are no longer enough. Missiles have been fired. Drones have swarmed the skies. Navies have clashed across oceans. Yet the enemy still stands. Factories continue to operate. Supply lines adapt. Resistance hardens. The tools that once defined modern warfare now feel insufficient. This is the moment history warns us about. The moment when frustration overrides restraint. Someone says the words quietly at first, almost as a theory, almost as a suggestion. Limited nuclear use. Not a full strike. Not cities. Not annihilation. Just tactical. Smaller. Localized. Controlled. The phrase sounds technical. Almost harmless. Tactical nuclear weapons. Designed for the battlefield, not population centers. Measured in kilotons, not megatons. Presented as tools of precision, not destruction. The justification is delivered calmly. These weapons, they say, could break enemy formations. They could end the war quickly. They could save lives in the long run. A single strike. A demonstration of resolve. A shock strong enough to force surrender. The language is careful. The tone is reassuring. This is not total war. This is not the end of the world. This is control. But history has heard these arguments before. In every era. In every great conflict. The belief that escalation can be managed. That destruction can be contained. That power, once unleashed, can still be restrained. History tells a different story. It reminds us that nuclear weapons do not exist in isolation. They exist in chains of command. In alliances. In doctrines built on retaliation. One strike does not end a war. It transforms it. Because the moment a nuclear weapon is used, even a small one, the rules collapse. Red lines vanish. Taboos shatter. What was once unthinkable becomes possible. And what is possible soon becomes inevitable. There is no such thing as a controlled nuclear war. There never has been. Every simulation confirms it. Every historical lesson warns against it. Escalation does not move in straight lines. It accelerates. One side responds. The other escalates. Allies are dragged in. Communication breaks down. Assumptions replace facts. Fear replaces logic. In the fog of war, restraint becomes weakness. And weakness becomes unacceptable. As leaders debate, the world waits. Cities continue their routines, unaware of how close history stands to a breaking point. Children go to school. Trains run on schedule. Lights glow in apartment windows. But beneath the surface, something heavy hangs in the air. The world holds its breath. Markets tremble. Diplomats issue vague statements. Emergency channels remain open all night. Every intelligence agency watches the same signals. Every military monitors the same alerts. A single movement. A single confirmation. A single order. In secure rooms, protected by meters of concrete and steel, fingers hover over authorization systems. Codes are reviewed. Procedures rehearsed. The system is designed to move fast. Because in nuclear war, hesitation is considered fatal. One decision, One command. One message transmitted across satellites and cables. And in that moment, everything changes. Not gradually. Not slowly. Forever. Because once the nuclear threshold is crossed, there is no return to the world that existed before. Only a new reality, shaped by fire, fear, and consequences beyond calculation. This is the edge of history. This is the nuclear threshold. And humanity stands closer to it than it ever wants to admit. A single nuclear detonation changes everything. Not because of the size of the explosion. Not because of the number of casualties. And not because the world has never seen such power before. But because once it happens, the rules that governed human survival for nearly a century no longer apply. This time, the unthinkable has crossed into reality. One detonation. One decision. One irreversible moment. The world pauses, not in peace, but in disbelief. Because this explosion was not an accident. It was not a malfunction. It was not a test. It was intentional. And in that instant, history divides itself into two eras. Before the first nuclear strike, and everything that comes after. Not a city, not a population center, not millions of civilians. A military target, a strategic installation, a hardened base, a location chosen carefully, deliberately. On paper, it is described as limited, contained, controlled. The language is clean, technical, comforting. But the message behind it is anything but. This was not restraint. This was a signal. A signal broadcast not through words or speeches, but through fire. A declaration made in light brighter than the sun. A warning written into the atmosphere itself. Because everyone understands what this means. If a nuclear weapon can be used once, it can be used again. And if it can be used again, then no threshold truly exists anymore. The illusion of safety collapses. Decades of deterrence theory, of red lines and doctrines and quiet agreements, disintegrate in a single flash. The world's leaders don't need translators. They don't need intelligence briefings. They already understand. The message is clear. Retaliation follows. It always does. Not out of rage, but out of fear. Fear of appearing weak. Fear of losing strategic balance. Fear that hesitation now will mean annihilation later. Orders are given in rooms deep underground. In bunkers designed for a world exactly like this one. No crowds. No cameras. No applause. Just confirmations. Checklists. Final authorizations. Launch sequences begin. And for the first time in human history, multiple nations prepare not for the possibility of nuclear war, but for its continuation. Global nuclear alert levels reach maximum. Every system designed to detect the end of the world is activated. Radar stations sweep the skies without rest. Satellites lock onto heat signatures and trajectory paths. Algorithms calculate impact points in seconds. Warning lights glow red across the planet. Some bases seal their doors, knowing they may never open again. Others prepare for evacuation, knowing there may be nowhere left to go. Time itself feels compressed. Minutes carry the weight of decades. Early warning systems stand ready, not waiting for certainty, but for probability. Because in nuclear war, certainty arrives too late. False alarms become terrifying possibilities. Blips on a screen could mean extinction, or nothing at all. Every nation knows the same truth. Once missiles are airborne, they cannot be recalled. Once retaliation begins, there is no pause button, no negotiation window, no second chance. Missiles sit armed, silent, motionless, held back only by human decision. Inside underground silos, inside mobile launch platforms, inside submarines hidden beneath the ocean, weapons capable of erasing civilizations. Wait patiently. They do not hate. They do not hesitate. They only obey. And for the first time, humanity stands face to face with its own creations, fully aware that pressing a button could end everything. Submarines move into position, invisible, untraceable, drifting beneath ice caps and deep ocean trenches, each one carrying enough firepower to destroy entire nations on its own. Their crews operate in silence. No contact with the surface. No knowledge of what may already be happening above them. They are the final guarantee, the last survivors, and potentially, the last executioners. For the first time, humanity faces a real possibility. Not theoretical, not speculative, not the subject of movies or history books, but real. A future where cities do not rebuild, where ecosystems do not recover, where civilization does not continue. A future where the question is no longer who wins, but who is left. Extinction not by accident, not by asteroid, not by disease, not by natural disaster, but by choice, by calculated decisions made under pressure, by systems designed for deterrence, but activated for survival, by leaders believing that escalation is safer than restraint. This is the true horror, not the weapons, but the fact that humanity built them, deployed them, and now stands ready to use them fully aware of the consequences. At the point of no return, there are no heroes, only decisions. And once those decisions are made, there is no rewind, no correction, no lesson learned afterward, only silence.